Hey everyone, it's Carissa Wiley. Thanks for joining me today for another episode of Sparkle and Shine here on the My Favorite Things YouTube channel. Today we are going to create a love explosion. When I saw these Cute Chemists, and that's actually the name of the stamp set, I knew I had to make a card with these, and I thought it would be fun to kind of have this explosion of hearts coming out from behind them. I love all the little test tubes and beakers and that sort of thing, and the sentiments that go along with these are just adorable. These are great for creating Valentine cards or cards year-round that just kind of tell somebody that you love them, you're attracted to them, and I think it is so much fun. So I'm starting out by arranging these images on my mini MISTI, and I'm stamping them in some Copic friendly black ink. I'm going to be doing a little Copic coloring, and we're going to actually customize these images just a bit. Now, because these are brand new images, sometimes the first stamping is not quite really dark and rich and black, so I just went ahead and double stamped them, and then I'm going to go ahead and start coloring with my Copic markers. Now, I'm not leaving all of the Copic coloring in here today because there's a lot of it. I'm coloring two little images here and all the beakers, but I will be sure to have a list of the colors that I used so that you guys can reference it. But I wanted to start out by coloring their skin, and when I'm coloring things, I'm going to color all the things that are alike at the same time. So I'm going to color all the skin at once, and then I'm going to come in with some toner grays and add a little bit of shading to their lab coats here. And then I'm going to start the customization process. And I have a Copic Multi-Liner here, and I'm drawing kind of a wonky circle over where the knee would be on her pants and putting just a couple little fine lines through that. And I'm going to create kind of like a rip or a tear in her jeans, because just because she's a chemist doesn't mean she can't have cool clothes, right? So I thought it would be a fun way to customize these to kind of put tears in their jeans, and that's what I'm doing with the Copic Multi-Liner here. Now, once I have that area kind of mapped out with my Copic Multi-Liner, I'm going to color the skin area, and then I will color the pants, and I'm using a B95, B97, and a B99 marker. Now, I have to tell you, whenever I pull out my B95 marker, I think of the radio station that I listened to as a middle schooler. It was like the pop station at that time, and it was called B95. So there's a little bit of useless information that you didn't need to know about me, but I know you always wanted to know what radio station I listened to growing up, so I decided to include it. So now that I've filled you in on that, I can go ahead and continue customizing my images. I drew some stripes on this little guy's shirt, and I drew them on her shirt as well using that same Copic Multi-Liner. You can see I just created regular black stripes on her shirt, and I created kind of a multi-tone stripe on his shirt, and I think that's a really fun way to kind of customize them. And I did add some eyelashes with that Copic Multi-Liner as well to my little girl, because every girl's got to have fabulous lashes, right? So once I got those all colored, I added some shimmer pin to the not the lotions, to the potions that were in the little beakers and test tubes. And then I'm going to use the coordinating dies to die cut these. And through the magic of television, voila, we have some fabulously die cut, adorable, cute little chemists here. So I'm just going to get these images removed from the dies, and they're sticking inside of the dies because I used that delicate surface painter's tape to hold those in place as I ran them through my die cut machine. And I'll just set them aside while I work on my background a little bit. And I'm going to use this Hearts Entwined stamp from My Favorite Things to create this explosion of hearts. So I've used my little boy chemist to kind of line up where I want these hearts to stamp. And I'm going to use my mini MISTI once again to stamp these in some grout gray ink onto some Neenah Solar White heavyweight cardstock. Now, I did line this up with the little boy, but this same positioning worked for the little girl as well. And I'm just kind of making it look like the hearts are kind of bubbling out of that test tube that he's holding in his left hand there. His left, my right, I guess. All right, so once I have that stamped, I'm going to take a really light toner gray marker, and I'm just kind of creating some scribbles of smoke around these hearts. I'm going to soften it out quite a bit with a colorless blender. So you're seeing me put down the T0 here. And by the way, the the toner grays in the Copic markers tend to be my favorites. I just think they're easy to use. I really just have good luck with them. And so those are ones that I reach for quite often, especially for shadows and shading and that sort of thing. They're a little less blue than the cool grays and a little less like brown than the warm grays. I think they're just a good basic gray to have in your stash, and they tend to blend really well. So anyway, I scribbled on the T0, I scribbled over it with the colorless blender to kind of blend it out, and then I added some shimmer pen, and now I'm adding just a touch of pink to the bottom of these hearts here, just to kind of fill it in a little bit, but not completely, if that makes any sense. Now I'm going to take this little smoke or explosion cloud here, and I'm going to stamp it in some black ink onto some vellum. I'm going to heat set that with my heat tool, and then I'm going to use the coordinating die to die cut that. And I'll just use a little liquid glue on the back side of this beaker or test tube, and I'll adhere that smoke cloud kind of behind there so it looks like it's exploding. And I think, like I said earlier, we're creating a love explosion, and I think this is so much fun with the little explosion clouds and those hearts. Now I've taken this sentiment, and it's one straight line, and I've cut it apart, and it says, "You make my heart go boom." And I am using the lines on my grid map to make sure that I line these up perfectly onto this grid block. And then I am going to heat emboss this onto some pale rose cardstock. So in order to get a good heat embossed image, I went ahead and prepped the surface with a powder tool. I stamped both of my sentiments in some Versamark ink, and then I added some silver embossing powder over the top, and now I'm just heat setting both of those sentiments at once. I am creating two cards. You're only seeing me put one together, but I am creating one with the girl as well. So I used a different sentiment for her. It says, "You make my beaker bubble," which I mean, that is so cute. So I'm just taking this now and I'm trimming it down into a little banner shape, and then I'm going to add some foam adhesive to the back of all of these images and start adhering them onto my card front. And I did take that card front and cut it down with a stitched rectangle die just to add a little bit of interest to this and kind of frame up my scene a little bit better. So I'm attaching my little guy here. He's got a couple layers of foam adhesive on the back of him. And then I'll take this little beaker here and kind of put it at an angle. And because I wanted to add just another little explosion cloud, I kind of tucked it in behind the sentiment strip. So it looked like that bottom beaker was kind of exploding or bubbling out as well. And that kind of completed the little scene of my love explosion. Now to finish off this card, I'm just taking the card front and adhering it onto an A2 size card base using some foam adhesive. So this is cut to 4 1/4 by 11 and then scored at 5 1/2 to create my finished card. Then I'm going to add some sparkle pen over the top of the explosion clouds and some glossy accents over the top of all those test tubes and beakers. Now here's a look at the little girl card that I created as well. I put them together in the exact same way, so I didn't show you both cards, but I think both of them are super fun. These Cute Chemists are exactly that. They are adorable, and they stole my heart as soon as I saw them. So there you have it, a couple of cards featuring some brand new stamps from the My Favorite Things collection, the Cute Chemists and the Hearts Entwined. Creating a love explosion and customizing these with the little tears in the jeans and the stripes on the shirt. I think this is a fun way to kind of change up some stamped images and add a little bit of interest to them as well. Now, I really love these detail shots because you can really see the dimension and the gloss and the shine that you really get on those beakers and test tubes using the glossy accents. So I just wanted to point that out. It's a fun little addition to these cards. As always, I'm going to list the featured supplies used in these projects in the description at YouTube, and I'll also include a list of the Copic markers that I use there as well, just to kind of help guide you along with the colors that I chose for these images. Thanks for stopping by. I hope you enjoyed these projects. If you did, be sure to give this video a thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe and turn on the notifications so you don't miss any of the fabulous card making and video tutorials here on the My Favorite Things YouTube channel. Hey, thanks again for stopping by and hanging out with me today. I hope you enjoyed this video, and until next time, I hope you have a fabulous day.